Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Dying YouTube channel. I've heard for years that Fallout New Vegas is the top dog, absolute best Fallout game. I always assumed that it was, but was also always suspicious. You know those people that will say that the worst thing is the best thing just because they want to look special? I was always suspicious that that was the Fallout New Vegas crowd. I really liked Fallout 3 and 4, but today I aim to find out if Fallout New Vegas is really as good as they say. Welcome to the definitive 2021 review of Fallout New Vegas. We started with an unreasonably long cutscene that I skipped, then I woke up and immediately regretted buying the DLC, because they just kept giving me non-stop notifications that I didn't read. Doc Mitchell asked for my name. I started by giving him my name, but took it back to be replaced with my better name, Gplifith. Normally I don't worry about appearance too much, but this was a special occasion. I was going to spend as much time as I needed making myself look iconic. Meet Gplifith. The doc wanted me to take a too long test, but instead I just stole everything he owned. I needed to do the test to progress, so I dragged myself through it, up until I finally got to go outside and get to the meat of Bethesda games, the open world. The vast, empty, lifeless, not very interesting open world. We were assaulted by even more DLC notifications. My first order of business was to get my swag on. They say first impressions are important, so I want to make sure everyone knows I'm a prostitute. The doc told me I could talk to Sunny Smiles and she'd teach me how to survive in the wasteland. She gave me a varmint rifle and I practiced on the beer bottles she conveniently lined up for me before she knew I would be coming to ask her for help. Afterwards, she promoted me to lizard fighting. I was on a Discord call this whole time with one of my friends who spent a lot of time in New Vegas, and he had one piece of advice for me. Whatever I do, don't go north. So I immediately went north. The friendly insects applauded my bravery and greeted me.
Yeah, they murdered that grenade launcher does like crap ton of damage.
So I headed south, saw a dead woman and avenged her by ending the guy who might have killed her. Honestly, didn't know if he killed her or not, but somebody needed to get shot in the head. After I took care of him, I found some of his friends and gifted them with ammo. In a way. Eventually, I traveled far enough south that I found two giant metal men. For some reason, I felt like this spot might be of some importance. No reason though, just a guess. I tried going through the gate, but it was locked. I'm still not sure how important this place is, but I was able to get some quests. Ranger Jackson asked me to clear some bugs off the road for travelers. The bugs ended up being large ants. They actually seemed rather peaceful. That didn't stop me from making them extinct in this area. I walked back up the hill, reported back to Ranger Jackson, congregated for a bit, but eventually talked to the sniper on the roof. She said that a nearby town named Nipton had been smoking for a bit, and she wanted me to go down there and find out what was happening. I headed down and entered through the back way. It turns out the town was being attacked by the Legion. They backed me up to a hill, and I realized now that as I walked backwards, I should be looking backwards. This time I took them head on. During the entire playthrough, my biggest problem was that gun mechanics suck. Like the actual worst of all time. So I had to run around a lot in order to kill all these Legion soldiers. After a while, I finished them all off, and one of them dropped an awesome melee weapon. Now that I knew what happened to Nipton, I reported back to the sniper. I really didn't know where to go after this, so I went where everyone who has nothing left goes to die. Nevada. On the way there, I got my first chance to use my new chainsaw. I walked for quite a while and got in a couple of fights, but eventually I made it to a town called Novak. I wasn't sure what I was doing, so I just talked to the first person I saw, and luckily he had a quest for me. He told me to go up the road to the old rocket factory and check out the ghouls up there. I had to fight a couple of them on the way up, but they weren't too difficult. There were more at the factory, but they were light work for a Fallout expert like myself. When I got inside, a man spoke to me and told me to find the metal staircase leading to the top floor. As per usual, there were ghouls in the way, but I killed them and made my way up. Requested permission to enter. The man was calling me a smooth skin, even though he was a smooth skin himself. I'm pretty sure this is cultural appropriation. He told me to speak to Jason Bright. He was the glowy one. He told me that he and his people were on a great journey, and that he needed me to clear invisible demons from their path. So I left and headed to the basement. I wandered around for a bit until I found a locked door and picked it open. There was a ghoul inside who threatened me, but I convinced him I was a friend. He asked me to find his friend who he had lost while running from the demons. And now I had two quests. When I got to looking, I saw my first demon, and you can see by the way I moved my mouse, this actually scared the crap out of me. I wasn't expecting him to just show up like that. Afterward, I found who I thought to be their leader. It took a lot of ammo, but I was able to beat him down and finish him with the Ripper. He dropped another really good melee weapon, the bumper sword. I found the ghoul's lady friend. She was dead. So I had to go back and deliver the bad news. Good news though, I finished off all the night skins, or demons. So I went back to the top of the building to report to Jason Bright, opened the door, and immediately crashed. Some of you might not believe this, but this is the first time I've ever had a Bethesda game crash on me. So I decided to go to bed and pick this up in the morning. When I got back on, I spoke to Jason, and he headed down to the basement. I followed his spacemen, but then I realized that spacemen have to move really slowly because of the low gravity. So I went ahead to wait for them. Chris told me that in order to make the rocket that'll take them on the Great Journey work, I needed to fetch some parts for him. First ingredient was isotope 239 ignition agent, which I found on a dead man in the road. Then some thrust control modules, which I was forced to buy from an old lady for 500 caps. Chris fixed the rocket, and Jason gave his speech. He gave thanks to me, as he should. Then he ditched Chris, told him he wasn't a ghoul, and left without him. Heartbroken, I told Chris to go back to Novak. Unfortunate for him, but luckily for us, I'm pretty sure he's a follower option now, which is kinda sick. My first ever friend. To finally complete the mission, I went to the roof control panel to launch the boys into space. I wasn't smart enough to read the control panel yet, but I trusted that everything would go smoothly. I initiated the launch and watched them go off into the future. And that's how I beat Fallout New Vegas. Maybe. I honestly lost track of the main quest line a while ago. I spent a good amount of time playing New Vegas for this video, so what do I think about it? I'd give it a 6 out of 10. Good enough story, however, good controls were non-existent, and every second I interacted with anything felt like purgatory. If you enjoyed this video, like it. Like it now. Right now. And if you disagreed with anything I said, delete your YouTube account so I don't ever have to be reminded that you existed on the same earth as me. I'll see you guys next Sunday.